I have three of the best big brand drivers that any beginner could wish for, especially if they only want to spend £50. The bigger question is, what makes a good beginner driver anyway? However, before I explain what the drivers are and why I've chosen them, I've bought another driver off Flyer, and this one is arguably one of the most expensive drivers to ever feature on the channel. And we're giving it away, so to be within a chance of winning this driver at the end of the video, make sure you have an account with Flyer and leave your username in the comments down below. I should also mention Flyer have had many updates on their app. The biggest one being Flyer Shops, which puts all your listings in one place and is also promoted on the homepage. But the biggest bonus I see with this is that if you have a lot of listings on Flyer, you're potentially eligible to have a negotiable commission rate. And even though the 6% is quite low, it does mean that it potentially can go lower for quite a few of you. So clear out your garage, make some money, and maybe buy one of these, because yes, they're beginner drivers, but what does that even mean? We are going to run a test of three very different drivers. To the point the numbers are going to surprise you, considering they've got different shafts, different lofts, and very different head styles. But if I was to ask you the question, what makes a good beginner driver? A lot of you will say off-center hits, which arguably this is one of the best at £50. But then some of you would say to stop my slice. Some of you would say stop the ball going so high. Some of you would say I need 20 more yards, even on the bad shots. For me, it is consistency. And to be honest, I'm very excited to find out which one of these is going to reign supreme. So up first, I have the Ping G15. No bells and whistles. This thing is just geared to A, last, but B, be very forgiving. A lot of people don't realise by making adjustable hosels, which don't get me wrong, I think is very convenient, and to be honest, probably doesn't make all that much difference. But there's a reason you see some of the most premium drivers on the market, lightest drivers on the market, that are fixed hosel still in 2024, and I'm kind of looking at that thing over there. However, I'm excited to hit this 5 shots in a row, stiff flex, 9 degree, and we will mention a bit of shafts. However, there is one concern I do want to write off early in this video. Can these old drivers still get a decent amount of distance? And I appreciate not many beginners are going to be swinging at this kind of speed, but if you look at efficiency, that's 1.47 off this face, titanium, tingy, loud sounding, potentially a bit off-putting to some people, but let's be honest, beginners have no idea. Not bad launch angle, relatively decent spin. I mean, no one's really grumbling at that, are they? And I think it's one thing that I need to tick off for beginners is that even with me at my level, how long I've been playing and teaching, is that these are all different shafts, lofts, head styles. And as we go through the data, you'll notice something relatively similar throughout. It's why I love the notion of a £50 driver for a beginner, is that you can cut your teeth, make your mistakes with this, and I want to show you if you put a sound technique on this old piece of junk, it can still very much perform. My second pick is the TaylorMade SLDR, and before some of you people fall out your chair, let me explain why I think this is a good beginner choice. As I mentioned before, the G15 for me is the type of driver for the player that hits it all over the face. Toe, heel, high, low. But when I started the game, the very beginning, I hit the middle quite often, and actually I had quite a fast clubhead speed. However, my big miss was always out to the right, very much like this one here. Not to mention, I've got a reg flex shaft in this LDR compared to the stiff flex in obviously this G15. No wonder 5 shots later with the SLDR, I saw that reg flex finish over here and that stiff flex finish very much out to the right hand side. But this is what we're talking about in terms of forgiveness and potential consistency, as these hill shots, not great shots with the SLDR, got punished more. The good shot on average, much further than the G15. But the big thing to note is regardless of flex, head type, brand, cost, beginner Simon, 19 years of age, would have taken every single one of those drives. Which leads me on to my last pick before the mystery driver. Now, this is a very anti-beginner setup, and I'm not saying get the D3 in the 913. However, the 913 D2 is an incredibly good value driver, probably a bit high in terms of value in the second-hand market compared to the other two. But you're probably asking at this point, Simon, why have you got the more tour issue D3, low launching, controlled head with a Torx stiff shaft in it. Prototype, look at that. And sadly, there's no driver on the planet that's going to stop that right there, or this right here, no matter how much money you spend on it. But if you're a beginner driver that has an extremely high hook to the left-hand side, and you don't want that face to close on the way down, you have a decent club head speed, and you hit out the middle very consistently, well, you can see why I've chosen these 3 particular drivers. Not because they're the best in the world, because that just doesn't exist. But they're 3 very different combinations trying to sort out particular faults with certain golfers. And when we're going back to consistency, all of those drives there, for some of you watching this video, that will be your consistency. For some of you, even on the bad shots, going a lot further, that would be your level of consistency. Not going out to the left and leaving it right, that might be your consistency. But the more you play this game, the less infatuated you are about equipment. Therefore, for my consistency, not the most distance, but the much more controlled good and bad shot is having to change my impact numbers altogether. As you can see with the last Torx stiff, hitting more down on it, neutral path rather than these slinging hooks, created a lower ball flight and a much tighter dispersion for my kind of swing. The irony is we've used 3 different lofts, 3 different shafts, 2 different swings and 3 different brands of driver. You can't really tell much difference between all of them. And every beginner to mid-handicap player would take every single one of those. With that all being said, let's look at the very forgiving, very expensive when it first came out driver that I got from Gary on Flyer. Now, it's not XXIO, which I've always thought, it's called Zexio. Essentially, Dunlop owns Strixon, Cleveland, and Zexio. And Zexio is their ultra premium, lightweight range when it comes to irons, drivers, you name it. The easiest way to describe it for me is kind of like Honma Beres version. Essentially a very premium Japanese set of clubs that are designed to be light, sound great, and be the most forgiving. And I'd spotted this drive on Flyer for ages that Gary had listed. He had it on for 120 and kindly accepted it to me for £90. And why am I telling you this? Because it's a very underrated brand in the second-hand market, because not many people, potentially in the UK, or let's say the more Western parts of the world, know that it even exists. Oh my God, I've literally just picked it up for the first time. Okay, we might have a bit of a different contender here. 45 gram soft regular flex shaft. This is just designed to get the ball up in the air and definitely not out to the right hand side. However, I want to add it to the list. My swing with this bad boy. Yeah, she's gone left. Decent club head speed, hardly felt like I swung the thing. And apart from my completely different swing that I had to alter for the Torx stiff shaft, stiff flex, regular, soft regular. Hopefully you can see what kind of shaft you want in your bag. Because apart from obvious direction issues, the distance, launch and spin were pretty much on the money with the Zexio. Guys, if you've got any questions on your golf bag or golf game, sasgolfacademy.com. Catch you guys later.